carpenter passing by saw the three trees. Remembering an old friend who was a carpenter, he decided that these woods would help his friend make fine products. His friend, the carpenter, was a good man whose mastery was loved by many people in the town. There were people who tried to accuse the carpenter for his produce, but the people who had experienced his handiwork knew him well. The woodcutter began chopping the trees. The third tree was the first to be chopped as it stood straight and tall. This broke the tree's heart. The woodcutter cut its trunk down, and all the branches and twigs broke down along with its hoop. The woodcutter then chopped the other two trees. The first two trees, who dreamed of becoming a treasure chest and a ship, were so eager to be crafted. The woodcutter collected the logs of wood and set out to meet his old friend. The logs of wood were welcomed by the carpenter. The logs were confused by the carpenter's workspace. It was small, nothing compared to the praise of his craftsmanship. The three logs were disappointed. The carpenter analyzed the logs and chose the first log of wood. The log was happy but also anxious. During the whole process of sawing and nailing, it kept wondering what it would become, but it kept its peace for the end. Once the carpenter was done, the log of wood was surprised. It became a simple cart with no gold plates, no locks and screws to secure any jewelry. The cart felt disappointed in the carpenter and its desired purpose. After having crafted the first log of wood, the carpenter came to study the second and the third logs. The second log of wood was different in structure and sturdier, fitting for a ship. Knowing that its wood is fit for building a ship, the second log of wood built its hope on the carpenter. Not soon enough, during the process, it realized that it was being made into a tiny boat. The young wood, now a boat only fit for fishermen, stood ashore staring into the empty ocean. It lost all its hope on the carpenter and resented him. It looked back on its dream of being a beautiful ship carrying kings and queens, but now it has to carry poor men and fishes from the sea. Finally, the carpenter came to the third log of wood. Unlike its two mates, this wood had already lost hope in itself and on its dreams. It was devoid of any emotions. The wood had given up, ready for the carpenter to do as he pleased. The carpenter carried the log of wood. He found it heavy. Looking at the height of it, the carpenter had no choice but to make it into a cross. The lifeless spirit in the wood could only laugh at its situation. The once tall and strong tree was now made into a cross that the people of the town used to crucify the thieves and lawbreakers. Days became weeks and weeks turned to months. The cart made from the wood of the first tree was being used to help the cattle. It was a dark, starry night. A woman named Mary was carrying her baby in her womb, and her husband Joseph were wandering the town, searching for a place to stay. Every home they visited did not offer them a place to stay. It was not long that Mary was in due time to deliver her baby. Mary and her husband laid their baby boy on the cart. The manger was fitting bed for the baby boy. The cart that was once disappointed for not being made into a treasure chest now carried the King of Kings. The manger went down in history. It was being mentioned in carols, and the world rejoiced the babe in the manger. The second tree had accepted its reality and began its new life as a fishing boat. It had encountered good fishing days and stormy ones. It met with all kinds of fishermen, men who were fearless and those who retrieved when the weather began to change. One fine day, as it was resting ashore, the fishing boat was chosen by a humble man and a dozen of his friends to cross the Sea of Galilee. It began its journey carrying the 13 men. After a while, the humble man fell asleep. A raging storm began to stir the minds of the fishermen. Everyone panicked, including the fishing boat. It had not seen a storm as this in all its years, but there he was, who kept his peace through the storm. His friends woke him up. In spite of the storm, the man whom they called Rabbi woke up. Nothing happening around him seemed to affect him. He got up from the stern and calmed the storm, saying, "Peace, be still." The storm settled and the sea came to a still. It was then the fishing boat knew it was carrying the Messiah. The fishing boat for the first time felt it was destined to be greater than what it once desired to be. It knew no nature ever listens to man unless through the Creator himself. It felt proud to carry the Rabbi. The third tree that was made into a cross was happy given its situation. Because of its height and weight, the little thieves who were to be crucified were not given the heavy cross. It was resting peacefully till one day when the Pharisees demanded for the cross to an innocent man. The cross was finally given to the man whom the Pharisees claimed to have broken laws. Actions like healing the sick on the Sabbath, dining with the tax collectors, showing mercy to those who were to be stoned to death, they claimed to have the man crucified. The Roman governor, Pontius, had no choice left but to surrender the innocent man to the evil mob. The innocent man gladly accepted the cross and carried it through the streets to the mountain top. All throughout the journey, the cross witnessed the man falling 3 times, meeting his mother, being helped to carry it by a stranger, getting whipped, and his face wiped by a woman from the crowd. But the cross had seen nothing yet. Little did it know what it was destined to become. When the cross was carried to Mount Calvary, it was soaked with the blood and sweat of the innocent man. The cross felt miserable to have witnessed the horrors the man had to endure. He was nailed to the cross with a small wooden plank attached to the head of the cross that read, "Jesus of Nazareth, King of the Jews." The third tree, who wanted to stand tall and have people look up to it, now became the symbol of strength. It became the sign that delivered many from their pits. Jesus of Nazareth himself bore the cross and shed his blood on it. The tree, like its other 2 friends, went down in history. Like the trees in the story, many of us grow up with desires in our hearts. We live with them every day throughout our lives, crafting and molding them. But when we see it getting broken, we too break with them. We only look at the disappointment that comes with it. What we fail to notice is the fact the one who created us also is aware of our heart's desires. He is happy we have them and help us in fulfilling them. Sometimes God breaks our plan when He sees that our plans are about to break us. Our merciful Father is omnipresent. He is in our past, our present, and our future. A little bending and molding by His hands results create far exceed our expectation. We too have to put our faith in the Lord like the trees did on the carpenter. The woodcutter represents the people that God sends us in our lives to learn lessons along the way and to redirect our steps. If you like to see more of these videos, please like and subscribe to my channel Abstract Hope. Thank you.